Your dog probably loves you and shows it a lot. However, there are certain things you do or habits you have that your dog does not like. Often, they are specific to the human species and can confuse or even irritate your furry friends. Today, we'll tell you about human behavior dogs hate and wish you stopped doing. Number 10. Not using enough body language. We humans are an expressive species and tend to demonstrate our feelings through words. Even if you don't realize it, you're probably talking to your dog all the time about your day or your feelings, just as you would with a close friend. Dogs are able to associate some of your words with repetitive actions. For example, it's easy for them to recognize keywords such as walk, eat, no, or good dog. But this doesn't mean that your dog can understand you. Animals are not able to speak or understand our language, no matter how hard you try. The only resource your dog has to understand you then is body language. Be very careful when teaching your dog new signals because owners confuse dogs a lot just out of ignorance. For example, there may be times when you want your dog to stop doing a certain behavior, but you lean forward when you reprimand them, which actually transmits approval. If you go to any beginner dog training class, you'll often see people saying one thing but doing another, and a confused dog trying to discern what is being asked of them. For instance, telling a dog to stay while leaning forward towards the dog and holding out a hand like a traffic cop is, in body language, actually inviting the dog to come towards you. But when the dog does, she gets reprimanded for breaking her stay command, which is confusing. A great experiment is to spend a whole day not saying a word to your dog, but communicating only with your body. You'll see just how much you talk with your body without realizing it, and learn how to use your movements and body positions to get the response you need from your dog. Number 9. Hugs. We are bombarded every day with endearing pictures of golden retrievers and adorable children playing and hugging a pretty landscape. Dogs, as we know, are expressive and dependent animals that almost never reject being petted by their owners. However, we tend to forget that animals do not communicate the same way as people, and that human contact that's either too close for comfort or lasts too long can be unpleasant for an animal. For dogs, hugs between members of the same species show dominance and mark their territory. If a human does this, they'll likely interpret the gesture in an aggressive or threatening way, even if they're tolerating it. Therefore, do your best to teach children to give your pet the space it needs, even though TV has probably given you the impression that giving a dog a hug is normal. We have to take into account that people train these animals to tolerate hugs. Number 8. Looking an unfamiliar dog directly in the eyes. Eye contact between members of our human species is a good tool for establishing connection and strengthening emotional bonds. In the animal kingdom, however, it is usually used as a warning or to emphasize an animal's position of dominance. If you decide to approach a dog that is not yours, and out of habit you do it while looking them directly in the eyes, it is likely that the dog will misinterpret your gesture and get defensive. Try to approach slowly with your hand at the height of their nose so they can smell it and know who you are before you try to pet them or get too close. Number 7. Petting a dog's face or patting her head. If someone were to reach their hand toward your face, your reaction would likely be to pull your head back and lean away, and then get a little tense about the invasion of personal space. Yet most humans think that dogs like being patted on the head. The reality is that many dogs will put up with this if it's being done by someone they know and trust. Most dogs don't enjoy it. You may notice that even a loving family dog might lean away slightly when you reach for her face to pet her. It's a personal space issue for dogs just as much as it is for us. Interact with your dog by gently petting her back or rear, but Don't pat, and definitely don't go for the dog's face. If you really want to reward your dog, give them a rub on the rear end, right by the tail. Number 6. Too much freedom. Dogs still have a pack mentality and therefore accept that you are their leader. In nature, a leader gives orders, assigns roles within the hierarchical structure, and acts consistently. Your dog expects you to do that. If you give orders and teach your animal to obey and follow them, you're not being a harsh owner. You are instead providing your dog with the structure he needs to be comfortable with his role in the herd. This is especially important for dominant dogs because they are bred to have responsibility and feel useful. That's why they are used as watchdogs or police dogs, despite the fact that their training can be quite challenging. Number 5. Not providing structure and rules. You might think having strict rules makes life boring or unhappy for your dog, but dogs really want to know what's right and wrong according to their leader. This comes in the form of rules. It's similar to how children thrive when they have structure and boundaries. Rules make life a lot more predictable, a lot less confusing, and a lot less stressful. When establishing those boundaries, it's important to be consistent. Dogs don't understand exceptions to rules. They don't understand that they're allowed to jump on you when you have leisure clothes on, but not when you have work clothes on. They don't understand that they're allowed on the couch after a bath, but not after coming in from a romp in the mud. Additionally, saying no for breaking a rule, but not actually doing something to help the dog stop the behavior and learn the rule is not effective enforcement. Dogs thrive when they know where the boundaries are, and when you spend time enforcing consistent boundaries with positive rewards, you also are building up their trust in you as a leader. Number 4. Forcing your dog to be friends with animals or people they dislike. Like any human, a dog will tend to avoid contact with any animal or human they don't get good vibes from. The dog doesn't care whether the individual in question is your sister or your partner's dog. There are times when, simply put, they just do not click, and it is likely that they never will. Do not force unlikely relationships between your dog and people or animals they dislike. You will just be encouraging uncomfortable and even violent situations that will make your animal suffer or endanger other people or pets. If you're taking a walk in the park and your dog growls at another animal, do not try to make them friends because it's not going to happen. Number 3, keeping a tight leash, literally. Just as dogs are amazing at reading our body language, they're amazing at reading our tension levels through the leash. By keeping a slack leash, you're letting your dog know that there's no reason to be worried or tense, that you are calm and in control, so your dog is free to be calm as well. On the other hand, keeping a tight leash sends a message to your dog that you're tense, nervous, and on alert, and your dog responds in kind. Their levels of stress, frustration, and excitement rise. Plus, it doesn't feel good for your dog to constantly be pulled and thus cued to be on alert. And they're also well aware that they can't get away from you even if they think they need to. This is why it is so important to teach your dog how to walk on a slack leash. It is a difficult skill to master and something the majority of dog owners can commiserate about. But it's essential to having pleasant walks with a relaxed dog. Number 2, being tense. Tension on the leash isn't the only way a dog can pick up on your feeling. You can tell when a person you're around is feeling tense, even if you don't realize it. Dogs have the same ability. The more stressed and wound up you are, the more stressed and wound up your dog is. And dogs, just like us, don't like stress. You might roll your eyes, but the next time your dog is acting frustrated and tense, check in with yourself. Have you been feeling that way for the last few minutes, for the last few hours, or the last few days? Your dog might just be acting as your mirror. If you need a reason to meditate, helping your dog calm down is a great one. Number 1, teasing. Many people think it's funny to tease dogs. barking at one as you pass it on the street, waving to, talking to one that is barking at them from behind a window, pulling on a dog's tail. The list can go on, but the important thing is that you shouldn't do something you know makes a dog mad for the sake of a laugh. The dog won't find it funny, and it can lead to some serious behavioral problems. Do let us know in the comments, what else do you think we do that irritates our dogs? Please subscribe to The Amazing Dogs. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching.